Congressman from Florida's 8th District, Mike Haridopolos, is joining us right now on Florida's Voice. We always appreciate a visit. It's great to see you, sir. How's everything?
Doing well, Drew. Thanks for the opportunity.
I know you are always busy. You're one. I have to say, let me just little inside Drew Steele baseball. Let me just say this. I do appreciate how you are one of these people there in Congress who are like, let's go, let's work. Like, you are ready to get things done, and I do appreciate that about you. And right now, I know the RSC, as we had a chance to be there a few weeks back, and Representative Pfluger and others, you as well, announcing the reconciliation bill to restore the American dream. Tell us about this.
Well, it's a very important step. As you know, the Democrats are going to vote no on everything. I mean, I think maybe from mom and apple pie at this point, and they're still going to vote no. And so we have to go through the reconciliation process because we recognize that the Democrats in the Senate will never allow us to get us to 60 votes. So much like we did back in July, we need to look at new ways in which to reduce the size and scope of government and to empower the individual. And so Reconciliation 2.0 is going to go that route. As you know, we'll just need a simple majority in the House and the Senate. And we're going to focus, of course, on three issues, those being healthcare, continued reduction in energy costs, and of course, doing everything we can to drive down housing costs as well. That is our focal point. We know that Democrats wreck the economy. We're in the process of repairing it, but there's still a lot more work to do, Drew.
Yeah, obviously, when it's wrecked as bad as it was, there is a lot of cleanup that has to take place. Are you getting anywhere with regard to talking to Democrats about this issue? I mean, is there anyone who seems like, hey, you know, we're on board with you, we understand, or is it just really, look, we've planted our flag. We're not going to. It's almost like they're not going to give us, the American people, a victory and do something that's tangible when it comes to the issues you mentioned.
Well, when you talk to Democrats privately, they recognize some of our ideas. They're obviously very solid. I agree with ones I vote for, of course. But the Democrats believe that just by voting no, that it might put them back into power. And as you and I discussed before, Drew, this is all about power. Our plan is pretty simple. We want to allow you to keep more of your own hard-earned money so you can make decisions that impact your life, whether it be healthcare, housing, etc. Democrats' plan, which is basically Biden 2.0, which failed us for the last 4 years prior to us getting back in office last year, was we're going to basically send more power and more money to Washington because they have the arrogant position of thinking they know what's best to do with your money. It's that simple choice, and that's what we want to highlight here. We think that when you own your own home, you're going to take care of it better than public housing. We think when you lower energy costs, everybody wins, from lower prices to having more flexibility. And finally, with healthcare, we think that you should get the tax credit directly as opposed to sending it directly to the health insurance company, which does not have a vested interest in paying your bills. So it's a pretty clear choice, and Reconstruction 2.0 is focused on that. And I'm looking forward to making sure that people see it so they can see if our ideas are better than the competing ideas from the Democrats.
Yeah, so important that all of the things that you did bring up, there is not one single solitary person who's listening to the sound of our voices or anywhere else that doesn't think that we have to do something about these issues. And everything you mentioned, first of all, with Obamacare, you know, I want to make sure still that we continue to talk about the choice and being able to do something else other than Obamacare. No matter what else is going on there on Capitol Hill, we still have to have something tangible for them to do, right? In other words, making sure that they see that we're working on this, that we have a plan, that we have something. The president's talked about this. You just mentioned it, among other things, and even housing, which have many people been talking to you about that lately? Because I feel like it's getting a lot of buzz right now, you know, with housing affordability, and it's really taking front and center right now with regard to the people and what we can get done.
Well, it has, and rightfully so. As you know, when President Trump was in office previously, we had a 3% interest rate when you buy a house, and it got as high as 7%, if not a little bit more. And everyday terms, what does that mean? In the community that I live in, where the average home price is around $500,000, that's $1,200 a month more that you're paying, almost $15,000 a year more because of those higher interest rates. And as Chairman Powell, who's not exactly our best friend at the Fed, said, the reason why inflation got so high is one, they were spending too much money in Washington, D.C. That was the number one culprit of why things happened. And of course, they did not adjust the interest rates accordingly when inflation started to hit. Thus, it hit over 9% at one point, which dramatically impacted their interest rates. The good news is that interest rates are down, inflation is down, gas prices are down, whereas, of course, your 401k is up because people see that finally they're moving in the right direction in Washington, D.C. in general. And so we want to continue this winning formula of reduce regulation, reduce taxes, reduce spending, and empower the individual. We think that's the winning formula because the other formula is the one they tried in places like Venezuela, which failed dramatically and it failed right here in the United States as well. That's how we reduce housing costs. And finally, one last thing I have to bring up is we have a permitting bill. Those people know that when they go to buy a house, things cost a heck of a lot more because the time and expense to just simply get the permit to build your house. We want to have those reforms in place, and those are both winners.
I'll tell you something about that, what you just brought up. For the longest time, that has been something that has been mentioned to me for years. That has been frustrating for people, permitting, speeding up the process, why it takes so long, the costs when you wait. And obviously, the longer the permits wait, and if you think about even in terms of something that you would get at one price at this moment in time, and then if the permitting takes long, you don't know whether or not that same product that you need to build is going to cost more. Now you've missed that window. So that's on top of everything else that's going on, you know?
Well, terrific. And the other part is, remember, when you borrow money from the bank, the clock starts ticking.
Yep.
And so when they take a month or two to get the permitting in place, is a problem. We also made some changes this past week in looking at regulations. Manufactured homes are not what they used to be. It's not a double wide anymore. It's a different type of system. And they had duplicate regulations from two different major agencies, which again, time is money. We reduced one of those or eliminated one of those, and we're moving forward. We need to look at the cost of doing business and to ask the fundamental question, is this regulation benefiting the homeowner in every way possible, not just one way? Right. And that's so we can reduce those regulations or red tape, whatever you want to call them. And that's a win-win for everyone because when you have lower housing costs, you can again spend money on the items inside the house or things you might need outside the house.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Congressman, I appreciate your visiting here with us on Florida's Voice. It's always great to see you. All the best. God bless. We'll speak soon, okay?
Thank you, Joe.
All right.